Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. Patrick, thanks for being with me. How are you doing today, sir?
So good. I'm pretty good to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being with me. The program will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? How did you knew that this was the way to go? So that's what you do for a living, please.
So what I do for a living is that I'm a hospitality professional. I work for a five-star property called the Ritz-Carlton, which I'm sure most people know about Ritz-Carlton. It's a very high-known global figure of providing luxury high-end service to clients and those who live in the private residences alike to their tenants. So
A
it's
little
really a
bit
really
louder
amazing
for me,
place.
please. If you don't mind, just speak a little bit louder for me.
Oh, is it not on enough? Okay, let me. I thought, sorry. Do you want to start over again or just keep going?
So, were you walking the streets one day and you decided to do that for a living, or something else led to that?
Uh, it's interesting because I've done different jobs. I have done different positions. Though I haven't had a set career, I was just really figuring out what I want to do. But my heart is around being a full-time entrepreneur. But at the same time, I knew I needed to set a career to help me build those essential skills in order to move forward to that. It's not just jumping into anything. So I knew that like although my main one is to be a police officer. That's like my main one of my top three top careers I want to do. But me landing in the industry of hospitality, I knew I wanted to improve my customer service. So I found this through my other third party uh, a business which I work for currently. They have secured a contract with the Ritz-Carlton Residences in Toronto, Canada, which I'm in. And I started to like the culture. So I started to understand like how things operate. It's very different than just an ordinary um, place to live. So they have a set standard. They have all of these different things that I must hit in order to be this type of professional that is in. And I really dig more deep to the whole role of hospitality, and I started to really grasp a sense of what it takes to be a very good person in this industry. And I do that for everyone because it's really not only taking in all of the good and bad, but it's really bringing the best out of you in terms of how to deal with any kind of situation, and then you being open to doing any role they're not comfortable being in. Because I know we're not here to just be in one position all our life. We're here to do different things. So yeah, that's how I got in.
That's pretty good. Not to mention, working with clients in that sector of yours. Uh, I personally, when I was young, I was a bartender. I didn't stay in that sector. I am, of course, also involved in customer care and service, but not like you, man. Not like you. Yours is very, very soft and sensitive. Like, for example, I don't, but if I have to, I can be an absolute donkey. But it's not very recommended for people in your sector to be like that for multiple reasons and all those reviews that we have now and so on and so forth. It's just uh challenge. It's a great profession because you really have to be a people's person to do it, and you can't fake it. I mean, you can, but not for long. But there are some amazing moments over there, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I've encountered a lot, as I mentioned, a lot of different I'd say s situations that I've encountered, even though it's way outside my own responsibilities, but I knew that I must step in because if no one can do it, then someone has to do it. And knowing me as a person and taking great ownership of it, even though it's not mine. But at the same time, I knew that I wouldn't live with the outcome that could happen if I didn't step in. So it's me understanding that part. I think when I was younger, I understood whatever outcome could happen is just because of me. So I knew that if I don't do anything, then if it comes back and say, "Oh, you wish you had done this," then I would have lived for the rest of my life that wishing for me doing it, which is the worst thing I'm sure you encounter as well. I think mostly everyone in this world will encounter wishing for something to happen, wishing to do this. It's that doesn't work in a way of how you want to live, move over life. You must go for it. So that's where I knew, like, importantly, being a like high-end luxury property that I'm in, they really set a high standard, which I say most companies don't set that. I mean they do, but like they go above beyond of what they preach and what they do. And I find it incredible that like having such brands really set the standards really amazing. Just really knowing that they want the best people in the business. And I understand why they've like Ritz-Carlton has been a top company since they first found that. And being proud that where I started from them and now I know it's a huge difference from my own growth to seeing how I interact with people. It's really great. And I really appreciate every time I deal with certain people and also seeing people's faces, seeing how happy they are and really feel encountered, that they feel reassured that their safety and their money they're putting into us and everything else that they feel that they put into is really incredible of what the outcomes are. I'm very proud of that.
You have every reason to be proud of that. And, it takes special kind of person to do that. Yes, every job takes a special kind of person to do that. I don't want to, downgrade anyone else, but I'm pretty sure, and I've seen it myself, like a hardcore IT guy that sits in front of a computer and does the coding, they will have a hard time adjusting to your rhythm because you, as I said, you have to be a specific type of person for that. And this is why I'm asking the third question, and this is why I love talking to you and people like you. How did you knew that this was the way to go is the third question. And the reason I'm asking, I'm certain that you have seen this too. A lot of people, young people, 18, 20 years old people, they go to colleges and universities because of that stigma. You have to have a diploma, and once you have it, everything will be rather fine. We all know that that's not the case. Maybe it was at some point, but it was, so I guess, so long ago and under so many different circumstances. I don't think it's even valid to acknowledge it. And now, in the States, I know it's a bit different. Here in Europe, education, with a few exceptions here and there, education is either free or ridiculously affordable. I graduated a private college. I was working as a bartender, and 60-70% of my salary was enough to cover the whole semester of a monthly salary. That was the private college. My master's degree, in Denmark, and education is free there. So I didn't pay anything. I know that that's not exactly the case in the United States for whatever reasons I'm not going to talk about. But my point is not about the money because you've lost money and I've lost money and everybody lost money. We're losing money from time to time, relationships, friendships. It's part of life. It's part of who we are. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about losing a lot of time because if you're a young person, you spend 5 to 6, 7 years in a place that's obviously not for you, but you just went there, then you're out of there, and then you start a job related to something that's obviously not for you. You end up being bitter and resentful, and you keep moving on that path. Eventually, you will meet the woman or the man of your life, regardless. And that kind of misery, you can keep it inside you, but eventually it will pop out, and those around you will suffer as well. I loved how you said that you want to be a police officer and this and that, but you ended up the way you are. So my question is, why? Was it a gut feeling? Were you influenced by your parents, loved ones, mentors, or so on, or someone else? What was the reason? And you were an amazing example because, as I said, and then you highlighted, you're a very determined man. You are a hardworking man. You're a people's person. And I can tell you, you're super warm and you have sunny disposition. So with all those qualities locked inside you, You could have chosen pretty much any other sector, but you didn't. You went with this one. Why?
I believe it has to do with just taking what's given to me. I believe I felt the calling because I was at another full-time position before I moved forward to the Ritz-Carlton private residences in Toronto, Canada. So I formerly worked at a pharmaceutical company called Apotex. They create generic pharmaceuticals, and money's great and development is all great. Like I was like a almost a non-manager role. I jumped into a role I believe 6 months after I came, just a general cleaner. Moved up pretty fast. Um, but but I knew I had a ceiling because then with the other positions I had to move forward to, I would need to go back to school and learn, or I had to wait till someone leaves to jump to a management role. So I've been thinking ahead because knowing me, I've been to think ahead like 3, 4 years, and I thought about as much this job eventually I'll max it out in like 1, 2 years because knowing me, I tend to really grasp, ask a lot of questions, seek more chances to really know the role more. I knew that I'll max out and I'll get really bored of it as much as it's a great position. So I knew I need to take a downgrade in a way that I know how much responsibility, though I love that because then I learned how to manage a team, which now I really understand it more. Really opened up my leadership qualities. But taking that and then moving to a like a whole different sector, I really understood that I've felt it was meant for me to open up more of the world that I had been always into. Well, I seen working in a private company versus something that's more like open public, like
Oh
a
yeah.
hotel or hospitality. It's very different,
Yeah.
and I never understood why. And I've I've seen a huge difference between both sides, and I knew being at the private residences was a calling. If anything, it was my own influence. It was all on me. I had to observe my own current circumstances, which also was part of the main whole world shutdown that happened. So I knew I had to act and think fast because things happen spontaneous change anytime. So I knew I had to make sure that I am very secured in what I do in terms of like maintaining my sanity, maintaining my financials, and making sure when I get in there, I really need to look at, of course, every employee must always do this. They must look at what's more out there for them, like any growth opportunities, any benefits that can help them. Like I feel a lot of just go in there to really like actually maximize what they have in there, because then they can see, okay, I'll be here for like 2, 3 years, really max out my chances, and then start planning. Because I think a lot of them just like a lot of just jump in without you understanding like what you're planning. Say, okay, I'll stay for a couple of years, plan it out, find a plan to exit. Obviously, with maintaining your relationships with your management, which I believe a lot of people may have undermined to do it properly. So it's very also maintaining that. And then once you build that plan, then move forward from that. So I've understood that playing field. So yeah, it was no, as I mentioned, no external influence. It's all under myself. No one influenced me.
Yeah, that's amazing. And my career actually started in the government sector. I started working when I was young and when I was a student myself. But my like real job, because I always knew I was going to be either in finance or supply chain, and now I'm in both. I mean, I've been in both for quite a while. And 2012 was the year I graduated and I started, and it was not a good year. I mean, you look pretty much as old as I am, so maybe you remember. Although you do look a bit younger, I'll give you that. Uh, so my career started working, in the government sector. Those supply chain and finance, in the government and in private sector, totally different, black and white, man. Not even close. This is ridiculous. I've said it before. If you've seen this pirate movie with Johnny Depp, I forgot the name, but it was super famous a while ago. And he was playing a pirate. He goes to a ship, and the soldiers, no, not the sailors, they were part of the ship, like furniture. That's what a government office looks like. They're part of the furniture. They have roots over there. It's ridiculous. And I really, really didn't like it. If you are the type of person that You have this, I call it genetic laziness. If you have this genetic laziness in you, perfect. That's perfect job for you. When I left, I think it was 2, maybe 3 years after I left, one of my former colleagues called me and said, "Hey, about that project you were working on, do you remember where you put the folder?" Because it was physical paper copy. I'm like, "What are you talking? That was 2 years ago." No, I don't remember. In the drawer. I don't know. Okay, I'll check. But now you're getting to that? Jesus, come on. It's not a good place to be. If you're active. If you're not active, that's the place. Patrick, I have a fourth question. I never listed in the description and in the invitation because I love the reaction and I love to see what my guests have to say. My audience is mostly made of people that are sitting here, wondering, have I chosen the correct curriculum? Have I chosen the correct university? Have I chosen the correct job? And so on and so forth. If you can give my audience one advice, what will it be?
I would say with whatever you've chosen, it's just really looking at all your options, what you have. I mean, you gotta look at your own circumstance. If you don't have much money, then say, okay, I will see what I can do with that. I would say, depending on your choice, just really work at it for a year or two, and then of course trying to fit in working as you can so you can retain some finances. That's a good buffer because having just loans, all of that, even though at times you really try to put back in yourself, I'll figure out later. It will always creep in. So I would say like really be a proactive, be attentive to what you're doing. And then if you really want to transfer, if you can do it like wherever in the world you are, Canada, UK, United States, find out how to transfer within a semester or a year, like really build yourself, build the grade you want, and transfer. Or if it's not for you, then just step back and really think about it, and then just while you're really observing the world around you and also committing to it because a lot of times when you take a year off and you get used to routine, you don't want to go back to the to get a degree or diploma. So I would say just really stick to a game plan within the year and really figure it out. And if your current position offers opportunity to go, take it. I would say just take it, even though it could be not much increase, but the fact that you're taking on more, it really looks better on your own profile and portfolio than just staying where you are. Always seeking opportunities around you. It could be even though it's not like you're taking like a lead role, but volunteer within your company or do volunteering. Like all of those little things will really build your profile. And yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask for help from other people. And I believe a lot of young people now are afraid to ask for help. So don't be afraid to ask because I remember within my journey, I've started asking for help and a lot of things open up for me.
Yeah.
So asking for help, and of course, obviously, depending on the advice they give you, always think about the advice they gave you because it's not always true to give because a lot of times there's always a undermining meaning behind those advices they gave it to you. So really digging deeper within it, and then if you don't feel it, then ignore it. But if it really fits you, then take it.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I remember when I started, you act sometimes you're kind of nervous when you ask a question. I mean, you're nervous to ask the question. And this was one of like my real first supervisors. He said, "Danny, the only stupid question is the one that you never asked because you make a mistake on that one." I just love talking to people like you, man. You're just so practical. It's just on the table. It's amazing, man. Thanks for being with me, Patrick.
It's great. Thank you for having me. It was an awesome conversation. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bye. Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.